In May 2019, something extraordinary happened in the United States. Hours before sunrise, families were already gathering beside railroad crossings. Some climbed hills, others filled parking lots. Many had traveled hundreds of miles for a moment that would last only a few seconds. They weren't waiting for a celebrity, a political leader, or even a rocket launch. They were waiting for a steam locomotive. When Union Pacific Big Boy number 4014 finally thundered past, thousands of people cheered as if they were witnessing history itself. At first, that reaction seems hard to understand. After all, it's just an 80-year-old train. But here's the real mystery. Today we can build reusable rockets, aircraft carriers, even spacecraft that land on distant planets. So why can't anyone simply build another big boy? The answer isn't hidden inside its boiler or its steam engine. It's hidden inside an entire industrial world that no longer exists. Let's get into it right here on Small Things. One working machine. The American Locomotive Company built 25 big boys, 20 in 1941 and 5 more in 1944. 8 survive today, but only 4014 is operational. The other 7 stand in museums or public parks. They can be preserved and studied, but preservation is not readiness. A locomotive that looks complete may still need years of work before it can move safely. Every journey by 4014 is therefore unusual. When it rolls through a town, the crowd is watching the last working member of an entire class. There is no factory behind it, and no shelf carrying newly made versions of its largest components. So why not build another one? The obvious answers fall apart. Most people begin with 3 explanations. Perhaps Big Boy is too large for modern railways. Perhaps steam is too outdated to justify the effort. Or perhaps current regulations would never allow a newly built locomotive with a boiler of that size. The third answer feels especially convincing. Modern railways operate under strict inspection, insurance, and liability rules. Certifying a new steam engine sounds difficult. Certifying one as large as Big Boy sounds impossible. Then Britain built Tornado. Completed in 2008, LNER Peppercorn Class A1 number. 60,163 was built from the ground up with new frames, a new boiler, and newly made parts. After certification, it hauled passenger trains on Britain's national network. Tornado does not make a new big boy easy. It proves something narrower and more useful. Modern law does not automatically ban a new mainline steam locomotive. Regulations add cost, paperwork, testing, and time. They are not the heart of the problem. The real wall sits inside the machine. The steel spine. Beneath the boiler is the engine bed, the structure that holds the locomotive together. Calling it a frame barely captures the job. It carries the main rails, cross braces, cylinders, steam passages, and the saddle supporting the boiler, while channeling piston force toward the driving wheels. On a big boy, the front engine bed alone is roughly 6 feet tall, 10 feet wide, and close to 45 tons. More important, it was not assembled from separate plates. Its major features were formed inside one enormous sand mold and emerged as a single steel casting. Big Boy needs 2 engine beds because it is articulated. The rear unit stays fixed beneath the boiler. The front unit pivots from side to side, allowing this enormous locomotive to follow curves without climbing off the rails. That front section is almost a locomotive of its own. It carries cylinders, drives wheels, absorbs piston forces, and still swings beneath the boiler. The design solved one problem by creating another. Big Boy could bend around a mountain, but only if two massive power units worked together as one machine. Why one piece mattered. A Big Boy could produce more than 135,000 pounds of starting tractive effort. That power moved freight forward, but every piston stroke also pushed back into the structure carrying it. The damage did not come from one violent movement. It came from repetition. Earlier built-up frames used bolts and rivets. Under heavy service, joints loosened, cracks formed around loaded connections, and tiny movements became repeated impacts. American engineers reduced those weak points by casting the cylinders, frame rails, cross members, and boiler saddle together, allowing force to spread through one continuous structure. A modern welded frame can be extremely strong. The issue is that Big Boy was never designed around one. Its supports, cylinders, and load paths all assumed a monolithic foundation. Replacing that foundation would not be a simple substitution. It would change the structure the rest of the locomotive was built around. The foundries that could do it. In the 1920s, Commonwealth Steel in Granite City, Illinois, helped pioneer the one-piece cast locomotive bed. The work later became part of General Steel Castings Corporation, whose plants handled jobs beyond the reach of ordinary foundries. These facilities could pour structures weighing tens of tons and stretching for dozens of feet. The metal had to fill a vast mold before cooling blocked its path, then shrink without twisting or leaving hidden cavities. A defect invisible at the surface could become a crack years later under the pounding of railway service. This was achieved before computer simulations could predict how molten metal would flow and before modern scanners could inspect every internal region. The drawings showed the shape. The workers made the pour succeed. Pattern makers, molders, metallurgists, and pouring crews learned to read temperature, timing, and behavior through experience. Some knowledge lived in measurements, the rest lived in judgment. For a time, this capability was ordinary enough to support an entire industry. Then the orders stopped. When demand died. In the 1950s, American railroads rapidly replaced steam locomotives with diesels. New steam engines stopped selling, so giant cast engine beds stopped selling too. General Steel Casting survived for a while by producing other heavy components, but its casting operation closed in 1972. The loss went far beyond one factory. Furnaces, cranes, patterns, and specialized pouring equipment disappeared or found other uses. Suppliers moved on. The harder loss was the human one. A drawing can preserve dimensions. It rarely records every adjustment needed while tens of tons of steel cool inside a mold. When to alter the temperature, how quickly to pour, or how to recognize trouble before it becomes a crack. When orders vanished, there was no reason to train replacements. The final generation retired, and the practical knowledge thinned out with them. This capability was not carefully stored for the future. It dissolved because the economy no longer had a reason to keep it alive. Why not use modern manufacturing? The simplest answer seems obvious. Weld the engine bed from thick steel plates. That approach works for Tornado because British locomotives were designed around plate frames from the beginning. Big Boy was not. Its cylinders, boiler supports, and force paths all depend on the cast structure beneath them. A fabricated replacement could be engineered, but it would need new calculations, fatigue tests, certification, and changes to surrounding parts. It might look like a Big Boy, yet underneath it would be a new locomotive. Machining the bed from a solid block is possible in theory, but it would consume enormous amounts of steel, machine time, and money, then still require full-scale testing. Metal 3D printing may help create patterns or smaller components, but a certified load-bearing structure at this scale would become a research project of its own. Modern technology does not make the job physically impossible. It turns one historical component into an entirely new engineering program without a market large enough to support the cost. Restoring 4014 avoided that problem. Union Pacific began with the original 1940s engine beds already in place, the very parts that are hardest to reproduce. The machine needs an industry. Even if someone solved the engine beds, a heavy steam locomotive would still require boilermakers, large-scale machinists, fitters, valve gear specialists, inspectors, and crews who understand heat and repeated stress. Union Pacific keeps 4014 running with a small specialist team. Maintaining an existing locomotive, however, is very different from manufacturing every system from raw material. Tornado shows how demanding a more conventional new build can be. It took about 14 years, cost roughly £3 million, and relied on specialists in several locations. Yet it is lighter, not articulated, and does not use American-style cast beds. Big Boy would not simply be a larger tornado. It would require rebuilding much of the industrial network behind it. That distinction matters because the missing ingredient is not understanding. It is repeatable capability. Progress leaves things behind. A modern metallurgist can understand the material, geometry, and forces inside a big boy engine bed. The physics has not disappeared. What vanished was the system that turned understanding into a reliable product: steady demand, purpose-built facilities, practiced crews, specialist suppliers, and enough production to absorb mistakes. Technology does not move forward while preserving every older skill. Progress is selective. Society keeps the capabilities that still have a purpose and lets others fade, even when they remain impressive. That is why an old machine can become difficult to reproduce without becoming mysterious. We still know what Big Boy is. What we no longer have is the world that once made building one a normal industrial job. No one builds a new Big Boy because the original design depends on an industrial system that has disappeared. With enough money, new facilities could be built and alternative structures engineered. But the project would take years, cost a fortune, and might produce a modern locomotive shaped like a big boy rather than a true reproduction. The 8 survivors are therefore more than museum pieces. Their original castings came from foundries whose equipment, workforce, and accumulated experience are gone. 4014 still runs because those 1940s foundations remain beneath it. Engineers can repair the machinery around them, but recreating the world that produced them is a different task. Each time 4014 moves, it becomes the last working proof of what that world could build. We did not forget what the big boy was. We lost the world that knew how to build one. If one lost industrial skill could be brought back, which would you choose? Giant foundries, locomotive workshops, or something else we no longer know how to make at scale? Share your answer below and subscribe for more stories hidden inside the machines around us.